Previously in AOR.
Hello everyone and welcome to the AOR PC Split 1 highlights once again for round 3 here in Bahrain. I'm Justin and joining me as always is Ryan.
Hello Justin, it is fantastic to be back for the third round under the lights for the first time ever on an F1 game. It is Bahrain and it should be a very intriguing battle between the Mercedes and the Ferraris. They look very consistent and very quick so far. Would anyone else be up there? We have to wait and see for this race.
Yeah, it should be a good one. It's pretty easy to overtake here. Not a difficult passing track, several overtaking locations, so it should make for some exciting racing for sure. Last time out in Malaysia, it was Marco FD who took his second victory in a row with a thrilling one-stop race, finishing 11 seconds ahead of Klawitsky and a further 17 seconds to race Fanatic in third, and a whole host of drivers getting disconnected just to further spice things up. Last season in Bahrain, it was of course the fourth race of the season rather than the third, and pole position belonged to Umar Boyaji, but he could only manage second in the race behind Alex Gillen and ahead of Kifla. Enough about the past though, let's look to the present and today's side-by-side qualifying comparison.
Welcome to the qualifying comparison for round 3 of the AOR PC Split 1. We have Jack first in the Ferrari and Klawitsky going to be giving us a lap round the Bahrain International Circuit as they're on the main straight, where the first of two DRS activation zones are. Coming down and hitting over 200 miles an hour, braking for turn 1 as Jack and Klawitsky take it very nicely. Jack gets a bit more apex and gets a brilliant exit out there, so does Klawitsky. Coming down this little kink of turn 3 up the hill, slight uphill crest towards turn 4, a key corner this one. Braking after the 100-meter board, they both go. Klawitsky takes a bit of curb, but gets away with it nicely as they come to the end of the first sector, and it is neck and neck with Jack just slightly ahead of Klawitsky at this point, as they both come into the very quick turns of 5, 6 and 7. In 5th gear they go, Jack goes up to 6th gear. Coming into turn 8 they go braking, Jack takes a fantastic line, whilst Klawitsky takes a bit of curb on that inside apex, which does hinder exit speed. Coming into the quick turn 9 and 8, a very tricky corner this one, breaking down the gears they go, and straight onto the gas where the second DRS activation zone is. Going to be coming down the mini straight. Jack is still ahead at this point, as it's going to be coming towards turn 11 they go. They brake just after the 50-meter board down to 3rd gear does Jack go, and up this little slight crest of a hill towards turn 12, completely flat through this corner, up towards turn 13 to start the final sector of this lap. And at this stage, Jack has pulled off a half a second lead on Klawitsky at this point, as they're going to be embarking on the final sector, which is basically one corner, which is turn 14 and technically turn 15. As they come towards that turn 14 corner now, they're going to be braking just after the Rolex sign as they go, and Jack takes a fantastic line there, straight on the gas, gets a bit of a curve, but it does not hinder his exit speed, as he will cross the line and take this qualifying comparison by 0.8 of a second from Klawitsky on there. And now it's time to run you down the grid for this AOR PC Split 1 League highlights. Onto the grid for the third round of the AOR PC Split 1 League highlights, and we have Jack first for the Ferrari on pole position with a 1:31.310, only 8/100ths of a second quicker than his teammate Fat first, with an all Mercedes row on the second row, with Marco FD just pipping his teammate AOR Hamish for the third place. Double D in the Williams gets another impressive performance, lining up in 5th, with Granny in the McLaren in 6th. DH gets another impressive qualifying, starting in 7th, with the Double D's teammate Race Fanatic lining up in 8th, 0.8 off the pole time. Klawitsky, as you just saw there, was in 9th place, 0.8 off the pole time of Jack first, with MiniBlack completing the top 10, a full nearly a second behind the pole. Canisbe lines up in 11th, only 1.2 seconds off the pole, with Andrei in his Force India 1.4 back, and Ryan out 83 will complete the lineup this evening, a full 1.8 seconds, but will start on the prime tyres, with Thomas Irish HD, Burkhoff and Crookie 22 unable to make the start. Now it's time to head to the grid for the third round of the AOR PC Split 1 League highlights.
The grid is decided and the race is ready to begin here in Bahrain with Jack first in the Ferrari on pole. Both Ferraris looking very quick starting from the front. You're going to be keeping your eye on, Ryan.
It's going to be one of the Mercedes, I'll shout it out. They look pretty strong in practice this week, so we'll see if any one of them can beat the Ferraris. Anyway, Justin, it's that time again. Take us through the start.
Yep, we're changing on board through with a few different people, and the lights are out, and we are off, and we're on board with Double D in the Williams at the moment, who is starting just behind the two Mercedes, who are just behind the two Ferraris, and it looks like Klawitsky's got a fantastic start, and he's going to have a look out up the inside on Granu, but there's been a little bit of contact there with his teammate DH in the other Lotus. Oh no, and there's been even more contact a little bit further up the grid. It looks like Marco's been involved, one of the Ferraris as well, and there's some big contact there with Canisbe as well. We hear a little bit of radio communication there, and we're on board once again with Klawitsky here in the Lotus, going to the inside on Hamish here, and they're going to continue going side by side, and nope, Hamish breaks a little bit later for that corner, and he's going to take that position. There's some more contact there between Marco FD, and I believe that was Jack first, and it sure was Jack first, who's moving up the inside now at the hairpin on Ryan, up into P10, just behind the Sauber of Canisbe. And wow, that was a bit of a messy start there, but lots of action up and down the grid, Ryan.
Yep, a lot of, and there was an incident with lag, as you can see there. There's a flying alien car in the sky. I'd never seen that before, but that's Bahrain for you at night. On there, but Jack first now is going to go around the outside of Canisbe, who is on the prime tyre, along with Ryan, the only two to start on the prime tyre. The rest of the field are on the options with the yellow mark compound tyre. On board with MiniBlack as he's coming onto the back of Andrei, and already you can see that this is a very demanding track on fuel, as they're already on optimal, and it's not even the end of the first lap. So there's going to be a lot of fuel saving at a lot of stages during this race, as back on board with Andrei. In 7th as Fanatic goes very wide, who really impressed me last week in, I believe it was Malaysia, as he's now going to be coming down the straight now, one of the longest straights on the calendar, as the side-by-side, remember there is no DRS till lap number 3, and Andrei just nearly clips Race Fanatic on the side of the car on there, but it's all clear as Andrei moves up to 6th position.
And Race Fanatic, though, actually hanging with him here, and it looks like there's a third car. It's MiniBlack and the Sauber who's looking to get into this mix as well. The side-by-side battling between the Williams and the Force India ahead of him, just getting him right into that mix. And they are still going side-by-side, the two Mercedes-powered cars. It looks like Andrei has just barely edged out Race Fanatic, though, and MiniBlack, though, is going to take the opportunity. He's going to try and follow Andrei's line through that hairpin at the inside. And he's now side-by-side with Race Fanatic here, as we get confirmation from Race Control that there will be an investigation for unnecessary aggression there. On board with Marco now, who has a front row seat to this battle up ahead of him between Canisbe and the other car there. And we're on board now, skipping on board to Klawitsky, just going all over the place. And it looks like there is a little bit of a gap forming here, a pretty significant gap, in fact, between AOR Hamish in 5th and whoever's in 6th at the moment. You can see that gap on the mini-map right there. And it looks like the two front runners, I'm not sure who that is at the moment, but it looks like they're pulling away a pretty significant gap. Very important to do here in the early stages of the race before DRS is activated.
Yeah, I think it's Fat First and Double D who are the top two are pulling away, and this train you can see here, as Fat First sets the fastest lap of 33.5. And Marco has to get past Canisbe, as I said earlier. He is on the prime tyre, and he does so down the inside, up into 11th place, and will now get back to this big train of about, I think it's 6 cars, all squabbling for, I believe, is 4th, as Klawitsky and AOR Hamish now are side by side on the, I think, no, it's not as Granu, I apologise, in the McLaren. Can't tell between the two because they're very familiar with their liveries, so I apologise there. As Klawitsky's going to go down the inside now with Granu up into 3rd place, and Hamish is there as well. Just getting a sniff there, but he's backed off, and you can see in the mirror of Klawitsky's Lotus on there, as he goes very wide actually into that double left-hander onto this mini back straight, where this is another part of the track, another configuration, but we won't go into that. As Klawitsky again is on stand, as we're going to have a little bit of look at the start now. As you can see, a bit of contact there was made. There was lag with, I believe it was DH hitting the back of, I think it was Marco. Then it all caused panic mode there As you can see there, MiniBlack and Ryan benefiting from the start. Mainly Ryan, who's jumped from last on the grid, who was, I believe, was in a net 5th before all this happened. And obviously with Ryan on the prime tyres, Justin, he's got a hell of a job to keep up with the guys on the option tyres.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I do love me a alternate strategy. That's always a good thing to see in the races here. And it's good to see that everybody was able to, you know, people lost positions at the start. It was a little bit messy, but everybody has come away in as a whole piece at least. Nobody losing any major bits from what I could tell. That Bollard certainly got taught a lesson, but yeah, you could see the 3 of them just going off to the right there, kind of all stuck on each other and losing lots of positions. Just about dropping Jack First down into last place. I think he was side by side with last place as they were coming out of that third corner there. We're going to see it from Marco FD's angle here, and yeah, he just got kind of spun off to the right there. There really wasn't much he could do. He counter-steered it, did the best he could, but there really wasn't too much to do. Oh, and that's the contact that we saw between Canisbe in the Sauber and Marco FD in that Mercedes. We're on back on board with lap 3 now with Marco FD just behind Jack First, just outside of the points at the moment. Going through that very high speed, turn 11 and then into 12, very high speed as well. Full throttle, at least in previous seasons, and it looks like it's the same way this season as well, even with the heavy fuel. And Marco FD getting a little bit of a dirty air effect there from the Ferrari up ahead of him. Getting that draft now, of course, he's going to be gaining some time down the straight, but of course, Jack First up ahead is getting the draft off of the Lotus. So we got a bit of a train here forming, as you mentioned before. We're on board with Quali, who, of course, finished in Malaysia in 2nd place. Really strong finish from him. He's really been looking on form this season, but he's got Hamish at the inside on turn 1 at the start of lap 4 here. Hamish has got that job done, but it looks like Quali's going to get a much better line through turn 2 and turn 3. But it looks like Hamish has him covered, though, even with the slipstream here. Quali not really closing in all that much. And, wow, he tries for the dive bomb, though, up the inside. And very, very late braking there from the German in the Lotus there. He's still got Hamish to deal with, though, on the outside of him. Fantastic racing we're seeing in this at the beginning of Sector 2 here, at the end of Sector 1. Really fantastic stuff. A lot of side-by-side racing we're seeing.
Yeah, it's good to see. And also just one...
Oh, I'm sorry, we lost Ryan there for a moment. I do apologize, but we're on board with MiniBlack right now, who is coming under attack from Jack First, looking to move up a few positions, of course, is that Ferrari. Oh, no, and there's been contact between them. Jack First spun off the track, and Marco FD is going to split the 2 of them right up the middle and take 2 positions, moving up from 11th to 9th. I'm sure he's going to be thrilled about that, and he's got a couple of, it looks like a couple of Lotus, nope, he's got 1 Lotus ahead of him, and I'm not sure exactly who he's with there. That might be Canisbe in the Sauber, as we're going to get a replay here now from Jack First's angle. Are you back with us, Ryan?
I am back. Sorry about that. I had a bit of a technical glitch there. But as I was saying, the incident with turn 1, no further action was taken as it was deemed a racing incident. So I was a bit surprised by that. As you can see there, the replay, I've seen the contact there with MiniBlack and Jack First, which I think Jack will probably take it to the stewards. So we'll find that out at some point. Back on board now with Quali, who's still fighting with Hamish. He's going to go down that inside. Very, very interesting there from Hamish. I would have thought he would have braked a bit later just to try and defend from Quali, but he still holds on to the position. Back on board with Andrei, who's fighting with DH, who has really impressed me so far in this race. He's had 2 disappointing rounds in Malaysia and Australia, so he wants to get some points on the board. Has a bit of contact there with Andrei, but nothing too serious, and he's actually holding it around the outside there, but he backs out of it on there, so maybe there was a bit of contact and he thought it was deemed to be bad, so he lifted off to let Andrei have the position on there. But he's got Marco all over the back of him now, who really wants to get past these 2 drivers. He is a very quick driver, as we saw. He is currently leading the championship. He's won the first 2 races of the season, as he goes very wide on there, trying to think making a move on DH there, so a bit of a late braking move, but luckily for the both of them, of DH and Marco, to not have any contact whatsoever. As it looks like DH there in front, looks like trying to get past Andrei there with the DRS, but as he's actually side by side here. Is he going to get around the outside? I think he may not, because it's not good around the outside to overtake, but he's still with him, and he nearly did it there, but didn't really work, and Marco's benefited from that, but he hasn't, because he's hit the back of Andrei, and now it's a three-way scrap now for 7th position. I don't know what DH is doing here. He should really have backed off there to get the DRS on there, but Justin, do you think you should have done what Andrei did there, or what's your opinion?
I mean, as you mentioned, going around the outside of turn 12, which is a pretty long and high-speed corner, very difficult there, and even harder to go around at the outside of turn 13, which is a decreasing radius corner. It just gets tighter as it goes around. I think he might have been better off just hanging back and getting the DRS, as he is now forced to defend from Andrei. He is going to have the inside line for turn 4 here, which is another very popular location to pass. Andrei very late on the brakes there. Marco FD with a very sweet line, though, swings through up the inside ahead of DH, and he's just behind Andrei now in that Force India. MiniBlack just kind of hanging back here. We noticed that MiniBlack made a little bit, or nearly made contact with Marco FD last lap when they were coming through this section, when they was going through that turn 10 there, another decreasing radius corner. He's just kind of hanging back there as Andrei has gone very wide, and that's going to I'm sorry, that was DH going very wide. Andrei shooting up the middle, and Marco taking both those positions, moving himself up into P7 now, but with a pretty big gap to 6th up ahead.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do now, Marco. He knows he's quick round here. The Mercedes, as I said at the start, have been very impressive during practice this week, so I would expect Marco to be up there fighting for a podium position at some point. If he does, he needs to put in some really good laps now. On the strategy-wise around here, it's a 2-stopper, and it is possible to do a 1-stop, but it isn't really the ideal strategy. You can lose a lot of time on a 1-stop, but we'll see if anyone does pull the bluff and do attempt a 1-stop. And as I said that, I believe that's DH going into the pits, so he's the first man to make a pit stop, and most likely will go onto the prime tyres for a very long stint. As Andrei now is he's backing off a bit from Marco as he goes a bit wide, actually, Marco, but has a very nice exit. And as I said that, Andrei does a bit of Chemblock drifting out of turn 2, and luckily keeps it on the road, but as you saw there briefly, he's got -1 lap, so he will have to fuel save at this point, as we get a nice replay now from Jack First, still in 11th place, not the ideal position he would like to be in, as he looks like he's going to the pits there. He's coming in, yes he is, and I believe that is DH, so see if the Ferrari boys can do a 3.7, which has been quite frequent in the season so far, and we're about to find out right now. What's he going to get? Oh, what a surprise, 3.7 on there, as he comes out in stone dead last.
Yep, he is going to have that clear air, though. Clearly, he is trying to perform an undercut here. This is obviously, I'm willing to bet this is not his planned strategy. But of course, Jack First not running even close to the position that he would have expected in this race. Certainly, he would have expected to be up in the top 3 or 4, battling with the Mercedes and his teammate. So he's going to be dropping back a little bit, but I'm sure he's going to be looking to make that undercut work with the fresher tires. As you can see on board with MiniBlack right now, who got a significant amount of oversteer through turn 13 there, running behind Andrei. And these option tires are definitely going to start to fall off. They're going to start to be not quite as fast as a fresh set of primes, and hopefully, for Jack First's sake, that will mean a few positions gained without having to make any passes on track.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, I'm surprised here MiniBlack is not in 8th gear. This is one of a few tracks you can go up to 8th gear with the DRS, so I'm very surprised that MiniBlack hasn't gone up to 8th, because it is technically quicker to jump up a gear, but that's racing, and if he may be saving fuel, we don't know yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But he is on -1, which I think now, I think it's a good decision for him to go into lean, because obviously less traction from the rears if he's in lean than he is to rich through this sector, which is mainly mid to slow corners. So MiniBlack's doing the right thing in the minute, and Ryan's 5 seconds behind on the prime tyres, so he's thinking about these two up front. Obviously Ryan is on the different strategy on there, and it'll be intriguing to see if Ryan can keep up with these two once they are on the option tyres on the last stint of the race, because with the 2-stop strategy, I think these two will go onto the primes, Ryan will go on to the options, and then for the final stint, all 3 of them will be on the option tyres at the end. So Ryan has got to really keep around about a 5 to 8 second gap between the two once these two pit. And as I said that, Fat First, the race leader, comes into the pit lane. Justin, take us through the pit stop.
Yep, here he comes into the pits, probably for prime tires. I don't read German, so I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to assume, and it is in fact the prime tires that are going onto the car. And that is Double D, who is having a fantastic race, it should be mentioned. He was one of the many disconnects in Malaysia, so obviously he's going to be looking for a very strong finish here for the Williams team. Both Williams, in fact, looking very good in this race, running in the points for sure. MiniBlack as well coming into the pits. Lots of cars coming into the pits here at the end of lap 8, start of lap 9. He's going on to the prime tires as well. And I'm going to ask you, because you would know better, are most people going to be running 2 sets of prime tires, or do you think we're going to be seeing a lot of people running 2 sets of options?
It is easy to do 2 options and a prime, so that's going to be the main strategy. I didn't really see anyone doing 2 primes, but in the pre-race, so it'll be intriguing to see if anyone does do that, because that is a very stupid decision to do, because the options can run for a maximum of 10 laps at least. As Kloitsky now is coming in, as you can see, the tyres there after 9 laps are really bad on the rears, and that is something you do not want around here with the mid to slow corners. The majority of the track is like that, and you will just lose the back end completely, as he's just checking what other strategies people are doing, but we can't tell German, so we can't really give you that footage for you guys, so many apologies on there. As Andrei's in the pits, he'll be jumping onto the primes, as forcing you to do a very nice stop there, and I won't mention the time again because it is quite frequent on there. So as he comes out, he'll be coming out around about maybe last 13th place, unless Canisbe comes out. Yeah, he's gone past, so Andrei will come back in 13th place. As really the biggest loser out of this so far is really Jack. He hasn't really moved up the field as we would have expected with Jack, because he is a very quick driver. He was one before even the season started. He was one of the favourites to win the championship, so I'm very surprised to see Jack down really with the midfield pack. So hopefully he can get out of some traffic. Obviously he was out in clean air when he pitted, so I wonder if he's going to jump a few people. We'll have to wait and see.
I think it's very likely, for sure. As you mentioned, Jack First, very strong driver. So it's looking better for him, though. He was running in P11. He's definitely not above P11 at this point, though, as we're on board with the 2 Saubers, currently running in 12th and 11th, which is a bit unfortunate. Of course, they had a double points finish last season, as MiniBlack takes 11th off of Canisbe and continues down the road to chase after Jack First, who's currently running in 10th. Yeah, they had a double points finish for Sauber last time out in Malaysia, 6th and 7th. Very strong finish for those guys, so I'm sure they're going to be looking to continue that run of points scoring and hopefully move both cars up into the points, even if it's in the lower end. For sure, that's going to be helpful for them. We're on board with Andrei right now, who is at the split, was just outside of DRS range, but it looks like he's closing ever so slightly, coming into the final corner now, or the final couple of corners, technically, as that is actually 2 corners, and Canisbe moving very far to the right. Is he diving into the pits?
I think it's a bit. No, he's staying out.
No, he was just trying to keep Andrei out of his draft, but unfortunately with that DRS, it really didn't mean much at all. So Andrei moves himself up into P12 and is going to chase after MiniBlack now. But it's a pretty big gap between MiniBlack and Jack First up ahead. Also, a lot of these positions are provisional until the prime runners, the people that started on the prime tires, go into the pits. People like Ryan here in the Red Bull, currently running in 5th position. He is going to have to be coming into the pits eventually. I'm not sure, but based on how his car is responding, it looks like he might be going into the pits pretty soon. Certainly 11-lap-old prime tires are not going to be feeling too great, and he's got mirrors full of Klowotsky, who's going to grab the inside line for turn 11 here at the end of the back straight, and he's going to take that position. Yes, he does, with the slightly better grip from those prime tires, and moves himself up into 5th. Although he was really in a net 5th already at that point. But look at the gap between 4th and 5th at the moment. Almost 10 seconds between the Williams of Double D and the Lotus of Klowotsky. That's going to be very tough to shrink.
I will say as well, looking at the map, as you can see, Hamish has got a 12.5 second lead. Obviously he hasn't pitted, along with Marco, so this is proving that the options can run a very long time. Both of them are still on the option tyres. 12 laps in, but look at Fat First. He is already pitted and is already on the back of Marco, and obviously I believe the 2 Mercedes will pit at some point. As you can, oh, that was a massive contact there. I don't know what happened there, Justin. Can you take us through that?
I think Marco just got some oversteer. I don't think there was any actual contact between the 2 cars. It looked like Marco just got some oversteer once you put the power down. Of course, lots of torque from these turbocharged engines with the ERS, lots of power delivery even at low RPM. And with tires that look like that, it's no surprise at all that he's losing the back end, as Double D now is going to have to side his way past Marco FD. He's got the DRS, and he's already got the move done, basically, and we're only halfway down the straight. Still side by side ever so slightly, but no, he edges him out with those fresher tires, moves himself up into a podium position, and not too far from Fat First, actually, it should mention. Double D hanging with Fat First very well. I think he's got to be the surprise of the race so far for me, as he's running in that position. Just got past Marco FD, running very close to Fat First. Got to say, the Williams are looking fantastic here in Bahrain.
They are. They've been quite good. Double D's been very consistent on laps during the practice week, and Race Fanatic as well. We haven't really mentioned it, and as I said that, Marco finally pits from 4th place on there, and he'll be going on to the primes, obviously.
Yeah, after 12 laps, that's quite a long stint. You got to imagine, though, he's going to be one of those one-stoppers.
Yeah, he is. Him and both Mercedes are doing the one-stop strategy. It is a risky one. As you saw there, he lost a lot of time to the likes of Fat and Double D. So it'll be intriguing to see if the one-stop does in fact work. And as I said that, I think Hamish is pitted as well on the end of lap 18. So actually no, this is further on the lap, and I believe both have pitted already. So all these guys now are all going to be coming to the end of their second stint. They're going to be going to the final stint, which will be on the options at some point in the next couple of laps on there. So obviously the Mercedes guys will probably saving their tyres, their primes, but the primes can run really long around here, around 15 to 16 laps they can go maximum if you can really conserve your tyres. So I will be very intrigued to see if the likes of Fat, Double D can actually, when they go onto the options, catch the Mercedes when they pit. So I'll be very interested to see if we could see a new winner. We could see a Williams winning this race. I've got my money on Double D to win this race. He's not that far away from Fat First, and we have seen Fat First make some mistakes in the first 2 rounds, so anything can happen here. We could see a new winner here, Justin.
Yeah, would be fantastic. Would be absolutely great to see, as Double D gets a little bit of a corner cut warning there as he's coming through turn 14. And Fat First in the Ferrari dives into the pits, and Double D decides to do the exact same thing. So no undercut for Fat First. Double D prevents that, and he's having a little look at the Ferrari boys as they change the tires on Fat First car. Double D dives into the pits now, and it's going to be, I'm sure, another 3.7 second pit stop, and he comes out just behind Fat First. And
are you guys doing
let's see,
a
they've already lost the position. I believe that was to Hamish, and I think another car went through, and it looks like there's a third one coming through on the mini-map, just kind of watching that as we see MiniBlack coming into the pits, as well as Jack First up ahead. Jack First into the pits, the other Williams as well into the pits, and MiniBlack goes in for his pit stop. He goes onto a set of the option tires, as you said. He's going to have 10 laps to do now. Of course, the track is rubbered in now, though, so they're going to be able to get a little bit more life out of the tires. But as you were mentioning, those Mercedes are going to be really struggling. In addition to being on the harder compound tire, they're going to be on extremely old, harder compound tires. So the speed difference between those one-stoppers and the two-stoppers should be pretty significant over the course of the next 2 or 3 laps, I'd say.
Yeah, and as you can see here, Double D, he's got Marco FD in front of him, so I think Marco has obviously pitted, so he's going to be, his tyres will be fine now, but I believe from lap 25 onwards, then they're going to be sensing the cliff moment on there. As you can see, the tyres still need to get up to temperature. Obviously, the comparisons of this year to previous games around Bahrain, as it's at night, and obviously the temperatures are going to be a lot lower than it is on like 2013, so the tyre deg on the primes will not be that bad around here. So you will probably see people conserving the prime, being a bit aggressive actually on the start of their prime run. As you can see, Andrei here has got Ryan all over the back of him, who obviously Ryan is on the option tyres, and Quali comes into the pits from second position, and he will be going on to those yellow compound tyres, the softer tyres. And as you can see here, Double D now going down the inside of, I think that was Marco FD, as Ryan and Andrei will pit for the final time, and Ryan's actually gained a lot of time on that second stint to Andrei, so I think we may see an epic battle between these two in the last 8 laps of the race here, Justin.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. In fact, I think oh no, as Andrei has gotten held in the pits, so instead of battling on track, it looks like they're battling in the pits as Race Fanatic comes out of the pits just behind Jack First. So Jack First has, in fact, made up a number of positions as a result of his pit strategy, running in that clean air and putting in consistent laps. He's ahead of Race Fanatic, who's ahead of Granu, and these three running in very close proximity at the moment. Not sure of Granu's strategy at the moment. I don't know if he has another stop to make, but since they're running on lap 21, go ahead.
Yeah, he pitted with I can't remember who it was now, but he did pit on lap 19.
Yeah, I'd imagine no more pit stops now. I would imagine everybody is now on their final stint. As you mentioned, the soft tires are able to run about 9 or 10 laps, so pitting at the end of lap 21 would mean doing only 8 laps on a rubbered-in track, which means you're not getting all the full benefit there. As Qualy is going to he's going to go ahead, slot in. Knows from experience that you can't go around the outside there. He's going to try for the inside of 13. But DH1806 with a much better exit speed coming out of that corner onto the straight. Qualy probably needs to hang back here rather than going for the overtake into the final corner, but no, he goes for it. Goes up the inside, clunking all over the curbs. Meanwhile, the Lotus of DH is all over the exit curb there. And he's going to move to the far right-hand side, trying to get him to lose as much draft as possible. But the DRS here just way too strong, and Qualy moves up ahead of his teammate very briefly. He's going to have the inside line now for turn 2, but that might mean that DH has a better exit. Nope, and he does make that move stick. Moves himself up into 5th place. Fantastic battle between the two Lotus boys here.
Yeah, it's great to see into battle rivalry. That's all you want to see in AOR. On MiniBlack there in 10th place and has Ryan behind him, but obviously Ryan is about 7 seconds behind him. Obviously they're on the same compound tyres, so I won't really see Ryan catching up here unless MiniBlack has a bit of contact with these two cars in front. But one of them is Granu, and I think the other one is Race Fanatic, so we could be in for actually some nice battles here. Obviously these three here in front, Jack First is pulling away. He'll be trying to hopefully catch up to the likes of Marco, and obviously Ryan behind has Andrei, who's only about a second and a half behind, so plenty of action on the last 8 laps of this Bahrain Grand Prix under the lights. And we see MiniBlack getting the DRS now on Granu, and I don't think Granu's got the DRS on Race Fanatic, so it's going to be very intriguing to see how this battle consumes throughout the last remaining stint. And as I said that, MiniBlack has got a fantastic line and braking out of that corner, and he's right on the back of Quali. He's going down the inside, thought of a move down the inside actually, but he decided to back out of it. As Fat First now on those options sets a 32.5, and as you can see on the map, Justin, Hamish is still leading, but he's closed, the gap's coming down and down and down. This could be a very intriguing last lap for the win here.
Yeah, with 7 laps remaining, there's still lots of racing to do here. Not just at the back in the midfield and all that, but also at the front as well. As we've mentioned before, with those really worn prime tires. Wow, and MiniBlack just flying with that DRS open, and gets the inside line at turn 1 and moves himself up into 9th. Very respectable race here from MiniBlack. He's not too far behind Race Fanatic, and with pace like this, he could potentially be a threat. Also, if Granu is struggling on this, oh no, as MiniBlack gone very deep into turn 4. Granu's going to have the inside line for turn 6 now. Very tough to go around the outside. MiniBlack tries it. He's going to have the inside line for 7 now. But of course, Granu's going to have the inside line for the hairpin. Very, very difficult to hang it around the outside here as he gets squeezed a little bit and raises his hand up in frustration. He's moved and he drops back down into P10. But he's not giving up. He's put it into rich mix mode. He's running very close to Granu. He's definitely going to get DRS, and Granu definitely did not get DRS this time around off of Race Fanatic, as that gap is getting bigger as they continue to battle there just behind the Williams of Race Fanatic. On board with Andrei, currently in last place. Certainly not what he is wanting from this race. He did finish in the points last time out in Malaysia with an 8th. And not too far behind MiniBlack either, actually. So he's probably going to be looking to continue that point scoring streak, but himself and Ryan really have a big gap to close down if they're going to hope to get into any sort of points position.
Yeah, and it won't help if these two squabble as well. That would obviously lose time, but you never know. We could see, obviously, the cars in front are still battling in front. Obviously, MiniBlack is fighting as well, as we come back to that actual battle right now. And I think looked like a late break move there from MiniBlack, but backed out of it straight away. out of that, and we'll see now Andrei in 8th gear. That's something that we wouldn't have been saying this season, as he goes around the outside of Ryan for that 11th place, and he holds the that's a great move there from Andrei, and they're still going. Ryan gets a fantastic exit out of turn 2, holds on to 11th, but that was some nice driving for the pair of them, and Andrei does the safe option with the dirty air, and obviously saves some tyre wear on his rears by going to lean, as is MiniBlack here, all over the back still of Ranu in the Finnish driver. He's having a mixed start to the season. He has got some points on there. He's currently in the mid-pack in the standings, so he's going for the mid-table as his target for the season. As we're now back onto the battle, for not really for points, but it's just for a bit of fun. These two are pushing their limits to try and catch up to MiniBlack and co. But I don't really see them not really gaining that much time, as there's not a lot of laps to go. So I think these two will just be having a battle to the end for just some fun and some entertaining for the viewers here. So it'll be quite to see who comes out on top here between two drivers. Haven't had a lot of F1 experience. Obviously Ryan is doing his first full season after doing a couple of races in season 7, coming in for a couple of races as a test driver. As we'll see how that goes. As looked like Granny there was going to the pits there at one point there, Justin. So. I wonder what you think then. Who do you think is going to win between these two here, Ranu and MiniBlack, as it looks it's going to be intensifying with 5 laps to go?
Well, yeah, that's a tough one to call. They both seem to want it pretty badly, certainly, as we see the Force India of Andrei take Ryan for the meantime. But then once again, he goes very deep into turn 1. He did that last lap as well. Let's see if he can get a better run through turns 2 and 3. Not really. But Ryan just all over the back of him. I'm not sure if he's going to make the pass happen there. But as far as Granu and MiniBlack, that's a really tough one to call. They both seem actually pretty quick in this race. It's tough to explain exactly why they're down the order as they are, because they both seem to have pretty good consistency, pretty good pace. Really seem to be on it right now. So that's a tough one to call, but I would have to go with Granu, I think, if I was forced to choose between the two of them. Granu is definitely on a mission this season, and he's going to be looking to maximize his points as much as he can. Not to take anything away from MiniBlack, but in this scenario with just 4 laps remaining at the end of this lap, I'm thinking Granu has what it takes to hold on to that 9th place position.
Yeah, as I just want to mention as well, if you don't want to know who's winning this race, it's still AOR Hamish on the mini-map. He is losing a lot of ground to Fat First, who is hunting him down like a hawk, and is only around about 3 seconds behind. So Fat First is in contention to win the race here this evening, as we're back on board once again with MiniBlack and Granu. This is like round 4 down the straight now between the two of them. And is MiniBlack going to get it done with the DRS? I think he has done. And he's up to 9th place, as Granu's still coming back at him. This is round 5 now. This is like the clash of the titans here between the two AOR legends of the PC League. So, a very intriguing battle. This I don't know who to put my money on for that battle. But here's another one for you. Ryan and Andrei still squabbling for 11th place, and Ryan is on optimal, but he's not bothered about the fuel. He wants to just get past Andrei, get some decent performance there. Ryan has been a bit busy with work this week, and he hasn't had a lot of time to practice, so he just jumped in for a bit of fun and excitement and just have a good time with people who like F1. And Andrei as well hasn't been that quick this week around Bahrain, not one of his strongest tracks as well, so these two are just having a bit of fun to determine who comes out on top between these two rising stars. So be interesting to see. And you look at the mini-map there on the right hand side, that is Hamish and Fat First, and the gap is still dropping down, maybe about a couple of 3-4 attempts a lap. So Hamish is doing a fantastic job on those primes to hold them out for this long, Justin. It's just insane how tyre conservation is a key factor around here.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and as you mentioned earlier in the race, certainly that never would have been possible when this race was held in the daytime, but under the lights in the evening, certainly it's much more possible, much more doable, much more, it's much quicker. You would have lost so much time by trying to do a one-stop in the previous years, but in this season it is a viable strategy. As Ryan L83 with the DRS, Andrei defending to the inside, coming up to turn 1 now, and Ryan's already made the move stick. Is he going to cut across and take the apex? No, he does leave a little bit of room at the inside just in case if Andrei decided to do some incredibly late braking. Ryan all over those curbs. just riding the inside of turn 3, those curbs there. That is a brave man right there. I don't know about this season, but certainly in previous seasons, the curbs around Bahrain have been lethal. Andrei as well using a little bit of curve there, and not quite getting a great line through that turn 5, 6, 7 complex there, losing a little bit of time to Ryan, possibly the dirty air coming into effect there. Interesting to note, I don't think there are enough laps left, but it does appear to me that both Ryan and Andrei are catching up to the back of that Granu and MiniBlack battle that's happening up ahead. But just as I mentioned, with only 2 laps remaining at the end of this lap here, there's just not enough time for the 2 of them to get into those points-paying positions without somebody causing some sort of huge incident or having to spin or something like that.
Yeah, I just want to mention as well, you can see on the mini-map there, up towards the start of the middle sector, that is Hamish and Fat First as well, so that is going down right down to the last lap of the race, so we can't provide you footage of Hamish because he has had problems with his recording software, which is a bit of a shame to see, because we want to see that epic battle between Hamish and Fat First to the bitter end. Hopefully we'll have some footage from Fat First at some point in the last couple of laps, but here we go again, another battle going on, another pass is going to most likely happen here. Ryan knows it's coming, he's going down that inside to hold off, but look at that, he's just gone past Andrei, he's just literally gone past. Ryan late breaks it, oh, bit of a late one there.
Sound resumed.
But both go off and Ryan does the safe thing and according with the rules, Ryan lifts off to give back the place to Andrei and get back to the sort of the same gap as it was before the corner, so that is good, respectful driving from Ryan and Andrei. And the back at it again, so that's some good driving from the pair of them there. Obviously Ryan didn't really want to do that, but obviously with 2 laps to go, he had to make that move stick, and it didn't work out for him, but he lifted off and let Andrei through, and that's what you need to see in the AOR.
And interesting to note, Ryan as well has been doing a significant amount of fuel saving here in the closing stages of the race, and he's actually on +1 lap of fuel with only a lap and a half remaining. So Ryan pretty much at this point could put it up into Rich for the entire rest of the race, which means he could be a serious threat to Andrei in the closing laps here. We're back on board with Race Fanatic. We haven't seen this group in a while, who is not too far behind Jack First. And Jack as well, not too far behind. It looks like that's a Lotus. I believe that's going to be DH1806, as Klawitsky was the faster of the 2 Lotuses last time we checked. Coming back on board now with the battle between the Red Bull and the Force India. Fantastic racing here. It's a shame it's not for points, but as we mentioned, Ryan with lots of fuel. Look at that. He's in Rich now. He's got +1 laps of fuel, and they're about to start the final lap of the race. So as mentioned, I do believe that Ryan is going to be able to keep it in Rich Mix for this entire final lap of the race, meaning if he can get by at the inside of turn 1 here, he might actually have a chance at defending the position.
He is, and he's just blitzed past, but Andrei's going to try and attempt that outside, but bit of slight contact there, but Ryan gets it done, moves up to 11th place, and we'll have Rich, as you said, for the last lap of the race. And there's still battles going on in the final lap. It's a three-way horse, I'm saying for the first time in this season, there's a three-way horse going on for 6th position between Jack First, DH and Race Fanatic, and this could go down to the final corner, Justin. This is what we need to see, as both DH and Race Fanatic have DRS on Jack, but Jack's got a bit of less wing, as there is the race winner. Hamish takes it from Fat First by the smallest of gaps so far this season. That's a great drive from Hamish to do a one-stop strategy. That is insane. But there's still battling going on between Andrei and Ryan, but Andrei cut the corner completely, has to lift off, and gets a warning from the stewards on there. But Hamish deserves that win there, Justin. It's a fantastic drive there, but there's still battles going on as Marco and Klawitsky come home in 4th and 5th.
Wow, I didn't even realize it was that close between Klawitsky and Marco, but yeah, as you mentioned, those Mercedes really dropping back, as Race Fanatic is going to finish just behind Jack First, that was in 6th. DH, unfortunately, he was running in 6th at the end there, dropped two positions to Jack First and Race Fanatic in the end, dropping down into 8th position. Really unfortunate. And Andrei is trying absolutely everything that he can, but unfortunately there is just no chance unless Ryan slams into the pit wall just before coming in. And so that's the end of the race, and what a race it was. In the end, Hamish won by less than a second ahead of Fat First, but after a steward's investigation was given a 20-second penalty for corner cutting, dropping him down to 3rd behind Double D, who finishes an impressive 2nd place now. Marco FD finishes in 4th position, just behind his Mercedes brethren, and Klawitsky in the Lotus finishes in 5th. Jack first in the other Ferrari finishes in an unfortunate 6th position, 33 seconds behind his teammate. While Race Fanatic could only manage 7th in this race, still a good result for Williams. DH1806 finishes in 8th for the other Lotus, a nice double points finish for those boys. MiniBlack finishes in 9th in the Sauber, ahead of Granu at the end of the race, and Ryan finishes ahead of Andrei in 11th place, Andrei in 12th, and Canisbe unfortunately retired from the race and finished in 13th.
Yep, and onto the Drivers' Championship as it stands with that penalty from Hamish. It means Marco FD still leads the championship with 80 points on the board. With that win for Fat First now, it puts him in 2nd place with 59 points, just 4 points ahead of the German driver Kowitski in his Lotus. Hamish's demotion to 3rd puts him up to 4th place with 54 points, still in contention for 2nd place, is only 5 points off Fat First. With Race Fanatic and Double D, the 2 Williams boys 5th and 6th, which is pretty promising for them. Granu, the Finnish driver, is in 7th with MiniBlack in his Sauber dropping a place down to 8th. Jack First, the surprise really of the season so far, down in 9th place with only 16 points, but does gain 2 positions, as Ryan and Canisbe did not really perform that well this week, dropped down to 10th and 11th respectively. DH is in 12th with Thomas Irish, who did not turn up this week, is in 13th, with Andrei in 14th, with Burkhoff on the solitary 1 point, and Crookie22, who has not had the best of season so far, still yet to score. What does that mean for the constructors? Well, Mercedes are just pulling away now. They've got a 59-point lead now over Ferrari, with them on 134 points to Ferrari's 75. With Lotus in 3rd with 65 points, 10 points clear of Williams. With McLaren in 5th with 31 points. With Sauber in 6th with 28 points. Red Bull in 10 with Ryan solitary 5th place in Malaysia still there. And Force India, the surprise ones as well, down in last place with just 6 points. Justin, where are we heading off to for the 4th round of the AOR PC Split 1 Championship?
Well, coming up next week, it is going to be the Chinese Grand Prix, famous for its snail sections with both increasing and decreasing radius corners, as well as having the longest straight on the calendar. It's a technical track with plenty of overtaking opportunities. I'm expecting some fantastic racing.
Yeah, it's going to be a very intriguing one. It is going to play to some drivers. Some may surprise us this week. Maybe their strongest tracks, we'll have to wait and see on there. So we'll see how we go with that.
Yep, thanks for joining me, Ryan. It's been a pleasure as always. Really enjoyed this race. It was great seeing the race under the lights at night in Bahrain. Can't wait for next week. We'll see you next time in China.
Take care, guys. See you there.